friends, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you tips to one of my favorite countries all the way east, Japan. We're going to the city of Kyoto. Let's go ahead and begin. Now, I did this a bit differently. I was already in Korea at the time, and I had purchased a flight to Japan to get to Kyoto. Well, let me show you how I did that. I'm going to go ahead and pull up Skyscanner for you. Skyscanner, you can always match it with Google Flights, but this is a way to find cheap flights. I've said before, flying from the US to a lot of these overseas countries is going to be mad expensive, but there are ways to do it. I already was in Korea. I went to Incheon and then I flew to Saga's airport. Once you pull up skyscanner.com, you're going to need to type in your destinations. For Incheon, that is the airport code ICN, or you can just type out Incheon. INCHEON, and that would be the from. Then for your to, you're going into Saga, Japan, SAGA, HRN. Then you're going to want to put in your departure dates. I did the month out right now. This is April upload, so I put in dates for May. You can filter it by the whole month and it can find cheaper dates for you too. Google Flights does this also. Once your dates are put in, you want to select cabin class economy. This is for the cheaper options. Hit search and then notice what comes up. T-Way Air. This is a Korean low-budget airline. And this is not one way. It's round trip from Korea to Japan. It's about an hour and a half. There are no stops. It's a direct flight. So this is a good deal. You have some third-party sites, Kiwi and Trip.com. You also have the actual airline, T-Way Air. Since the price difference isn't that much, I would recommend that you go ahead and select T-Way Air. They're going to bring you to their homepage where you can select the flights. It is going to be in South Korean won. Once you have done that, it'll take you to the payment. That's how I booked this flight, y'all. Less than $100 I got to Japan from Korea. But this is a good tip. Use Skyscanner to help you select the cheaper flights. You can even do it months out. A lot of times my flights are last minute, and that's how I was able to snag this deal. Real quick, a review of Incheon Airport. According to Skytrax, it's the 4th best airport in the world. It is very large, it's modern, it's clean design, and you are really going to be able to navigate through it easily. They have traditional tourist places where you can, try on traditional Korean clothes. I know this is a Japan video, but that airport, Incheon, it is fantastic, you guys. They have people playing the piano. You guys know I like to hear pianos in airports. There's showers, gaming zone, there's kids zones, there's computer zones with workstations for you to get your work done before your flight. They have dance shows. This airport is it, y'all. From there, I went to Saga. Saga Airport is very small. It was my entry point into Japan. I flew from Seoul to Saga. Then I went from Saga to Fukuoka, and then Fukuoka overnight to Kyoto. It was a roundabout, but I got there. If you're like, Janelle, I'm not doing all that, I completely get it. I understand. You could just fly for the States all the way to Kyoto. Kyoto, Osaka, and Tokyo, those are going to be the most popular cities. So even if you don't start with Tokyo, I've never been to Tokyo myself. You can definitely start with Kyoto. It's beautiful. Y'all bear with me. I'm testing out lighting now. Sometimes my eyes they get really big. Let me adjust to this. Japan is known to be one of the most expensive places that you can visit, especially for solo travelers. I am going to give you some budget options for accommodation, and that's going to be hostels. If you are going to want to stay in a hostel, you're going to realize all throughout Japan accommodation that they want you to remove the shoes. They're going to have shelves for you where you can put the shoes in as soon as you walk in. Some people like to switch into their, house slippers. You just leave your shoes by the front door. It's okay. This is typical tradition in Japan. Keep the shoes off. When you are looking for hostels on hostelworld.com, these are rated by location. Of course, you want to have the central location to the city center for Kyoto. Friendly staff. You're looking to see reviews, how the staff treats foreigners especially, and cleanliness. Their hostels are typically clean. They're more than just once a day, like some I've been to. Here are a few hostels that I would recommend. So I have Lin Kyoto, which was $36 a night, and you're going to be in a dorm. There's also Peace Hostel Kyoto. That one's going to be $51 if you want privates. That's good because you get your own space. What are ryokans? They are the traditional Japanese inns. These are not hostels, but some of them will rent out hostel rooms. One of those named is going to be Gion Ryokan. You can find all of these on hostelworld.com. Always match it up on Google. Read the reviews on both and see which one fits your fancy. At Gion, they have it about $26 a night. When you are looking at the reviews, you want to look at the location, the staff, and of course the cleanliness. Speaking of cleanliness, I might as well use this as a time to talk about the smart toilets in Japan, the spa experience for when you're doing your business. The toilets in Japan are modern. They're so high tech. Depending on the model of the toilet, it's really going to enhance your time in the bathroom. From heated seats, some of them offer massages, they play music. Imagine the lid just automatically lifting for you. You don't have to touch nothing. It self-cleans. What more could you ask from a toilet? They have air dryers too. One tip would be when you first experience the smart toilet, you're going to see the panel with all the buttons. Just don't go all willy-nilly pressing everything because you might get surprised. If you've seen the water just shoot up and have never experienced bidet before, don't push all the buttons. The ways these are designed so that you don't have to use toilet papers, and actually using these modern smart toilets, it's more environmentally friendly because they are reducing the use of toilet paper. Like everything you need is on that panel. The toilets are a delight. I'm not sure that all hostels have these. Depending on where you are staying, the toilet can get better, or you could just have a basic one. Some might even have the traditional squat toilets. A lot of these Asian countries, they offer the pocket Wi-Fi. And one time before I got to Kyoto, I was staying in Fukuoka. I had rented an Airbnb, and the owner automatically just said, oh, just take this pocket Wi-Fi with you while you travel around the city. And it made everything so easier. Back then, I really wasn't using my GPS on my phone, and I had the Wi-Fi turned off. I didn't even have a phone plan for Japan. You're probably like, what? But I didn't need it because I had the pocket Wi-Fi. It really, really made things easier. If you're looking for where to stay in Japan, you can definitely try the hostels, go to Hostel World, or you can try the traditional ryokan. Both of these should offer the fancy smart toilets for you to experience. If you're enjoying this video, go ahead and like it so that I know I really enjoy when I can engage with you guys. And again, thank you for 500. We're at 500 for real now, so I can truly say it. The activities in Kyoto are going to be amazing for tourists. Yes, they are touristy, but they're so fantastic. You have to experience them as a first-time traveler. The first one is going to be Fushimi Inari. For this, you want to be prepared. I would either drink before, make sure that you bring water bottle if you so choose with you. You want to have comfortable walking shoes because this is a hike if you choose all the way to go up. Some people who have done the hike, you might be pausing to take photos, just enjoying the scenery around you. It can take from 1 to 2 hours. I was at Fukuoka, went to Fukuoka Station, and then I took the overnight bus to Kyoto Station. From Kyoto Station, you are very, very close to Fushimi Inari. In fact, going on the train station, it's only going to take you 5 minutes to get to Fushimi from the station. Arrive there early. I'm talking about maybe 6 a.m., 7 a.m. I think I arrived about 8 a.m. You want it to be where there's not a lot of people because it is such a popular tourist site. Like those crowds can really mess up y'all's experience. This is where you can see the temple. They have all of the red torii gates, and it's so beautiful. Experiencing that for the first time, I had seen pictures before. There's nothing like standing in front of it. It is kind of hard when you're trying to get your photos and you're traveling solo. You really don't have anybody to take them for you. On that trip, I really wasn't feeling like asking people. I was kind of groggy from the bus ride, and I'm trying to soak it all in. I probably should have taken better pictures. I'm going to show you what I have here. And I don't remember going to the top for real, for real. I think I wanted to go to Arashiyama too. I went through a lot of the gates. I took the pictures. There are 1,200 stairs, you guys. Most travelers are saying if you take the time to go all the way to the top, you're going to notice that the crowds are going to start dwindling. And that is what you want because you have more opportunities for photos, videos. Imagine going there during cherry blossom season or when it's snowing. Japan is so beautiful and picturesque. You come down from the top of the mountain, you're going to see all of these food stalls. You can try and taste the street food. You're going to see people walking around in their traditional Japanese clothing. It is such a delight. I will never forget going to Fushimi Inari. The next place is going to be the Arashiyama Bamboo Forest. Some people say this is played out. For me, I enjoyed it. Yes, there were a lot of people walking around, but just seeing the bamboo, I like nature anyway, so I thought it was spectacular. Going at a different time of the year to see the fall foliage would make this even more spectacular. Last activity, you have to try onsen. This is a hot spring, but we're not talking about hot springs like it was in Iceland. Y'all remember my Iceland video? This is traditional Japanese onsen. Experiencing that solo out in the forest, in the mountains, with no clothes on. Come on. For the onsen, there are going to be some rules and regulations that you have to follow. One, if you're tatted up, Japanese don't really allow you to come in with tattoos. So either you're going to have to cover it with a bandage, or you can try to reserve ahead of time your own private onsen. Typically, you're not going to be able to get in with just tattoos. And really just think of no phones, no clothes. That means no swimsuits, no underwear. You can bring a towel, but that would just be on the edge for you to lie your head back on. Some people like to just lay it on their foreheads. Mine was tied up. I didn't want that on me. You never put your head in. This is not a swimming pool. Onsen is not for swimming. For me, at that time, I had braids, so I had to twist it up. I had it in a bandana. I should have had a cuter get up, but I was like, this hair is not going in there. Even before you go into the baths, they're going to say that you have to wash your body. They have these little low stools where you sit on and you shower. You're going to use, obviously, soap and water. And they do recommend that you wash your hair. Honey, I had those fresh braids. I was not wetting it, because when you wet braids, it starts to get a little fuzzy, frizzy. While you are in the locker rooms, the steam rooms, the saunas with the showers, you do have your robe on. So I had that on. But when it was time to enter the baths, you put all that up. You put all that stuff away in your locker. Another difference with the onsen in Japan than the hot springs in Iceland is this is more supposed to be for relaxation and meditation. So it's quiet. I do remember a lot. I didn't go to the Blue Lagoon or Sky Lagoon, but a lot of those places, it's friendly. People are talking. There's lots of chatter. The Japanese tend to be more quiet with all the different countries I've experienced. You're not coming in there with a speaker. So you can have loud music and turn it up. Even now how I'm talking, I did yoga before this video to remind me of the calmness when you are going into that onsen. It is absolutely amazing for you to just be in that stillness with the beautiful nature backdrop. There are certain peaks on each trip where I'm like, I'm not going to beat this moment. This was the top moment for me, being at the onsen. And to this day, I've been to the Korean spas. I've been to the hot springs in Iceland. Japan surpassed those. You would have to be comfortable being completely nude. That can be awkward to some, but really nobody cares. Like, nobody's looking at you like that for real. These are separated by gender, so you don't have to worry about men or anybody being creepy or anything like that. And the women, they're there of all ages. Yes, they are naturally curious. You're a foreigner. I was a Black woman, so they're looking at the curves. You might think that they are, but not for real. They might be like, oh, your hair is so interesting. But mine was tied up, so they couldn't even really see that. In fact, when I was at the onsen, it was with, I think, another lady. She was from Europe, and Europe gets down with the get down. They don't have no problem being nude. Once you get over that and you go in those baths and enjoy it, you forget about all of your fears, how long it took you to get there. It is so relaxing. With the water, temperature can be kind of hot, so you don't want to be in there for too long. Okay, you want to get back out to where it's cool, go back in, and you kind of just go back and forth. When you are done at the onsen, you definitely want to hydrate. The one that I went to was Kurama, and when I looked online, you guys, I'm so sorry, it said that it has been temporarily closed. I hope that it will open in the future, because it was very easy for me to get there. So this one was located 30 minutes north by the train. You will take that all the way to Kurama. Kurama has a train that takes you directly to Kurama Onsen, and then there is a bus shuttle that is free that takes you back and forth. Again, y'all, it's closed right now. I don't know what's going on over there, but you can look up other onsens too. A lot of them offer access if you're staying at the ryokans too, so that could be an option for a day trip. I just walked around in my robe for the rest of the time. No, I didn't have no clothes on under it, but I was so relaxed. When you come out of the baths, out of the onsen, you're just like in such a peaceful mindset. I was like, what else is there to do here? So I went in, they have the low tables where you can sit and have a meal. The Japanese, they just have this down pat. They even put the little cute origami on my plate with my food. Wrapping it up, you definitely want to go to Fushimi Inari. You want to go to Arashiyama, go see the bamboo forest, and relax after all of the walking and activity that you've done throughout the day by soaking in the onsen. I want to talk about how to get around Japan. Japan's transportation is very efficient and modern, you guys. You want to try the bullet train known as the Shinkansen. You can do this by getting the JR Pass. They offer three types that you can get if you're going to be there for 7 days, 14 days, or 21 days. It's going to be a little pricey. I never used the JR Pass. Unfortunately, I was not there long in Kyoto. I might have been there, what, a day? And I turned around and went back to Fukuoka because I needed to get down to Saga. Now, the only thing with the JR Pass, it does not include subways or bus transport. All right, so this is only for the bullet trains. But it is a great way for you to experience the maglev. I think Japan has the best bullet trains in the world. Sorry, China. Y'all go head to head with the best and the fastest, but Japan started it first. They have a stunning safety record. Also, these trains can go up to 200 miles per hour, and you're going to be able to get from city to city very quickly. Look into the JR Pass. Also, the buses. I told you that I took the overnight bus to get to Kyoto from Fukuoka. You can do this from the Fukuoka station. I know I'm confusing you a little bit. On their third floor, that is where you can get the bus tickets. The bus offers blankets, which is a nice touch. It comes with your ticket. And I mean, usually I'm so tired by the end of the day, I'm just going to sleep. I do remember the buses were kind of cold, so it's nice that they have those blankets for you. I feel like everything in Japan is luxury high tech, even the buses. This is not no Greyhound situation. Another thing that I liked about Japan was the etiquette for lining up with the transport, the metro, the bus, the train. Like, it is so posh and reserved. There's no loud yelling, running. There's no cutting in line. I know the British, they call it in the queue. The way that they queue up is really impressive, you guys. I like to observe, how the locals are doing it. I'm like, oh, okay. This is very classy. I feel like Japan is just so classy. There's a lot that we as Americans can learn from them. Once you get your ticket, you go in the line and you wait. Like, it's straight line. You don't cut in front of people. I can think of some stations in the US where it's just loud, chaotic. And that really it can bring on anxiety to people. It can make it more stressful. I think throughout Japan, just moving around, the category is zen. It's calm. It's quiet. I really enjoyed that in Japan, noticing the etiquette. I remember at the bus station, there was some confusion. I didn't really know where I was supposed to go. And I was asking the guy at the ticket counter, can you help me? He was like a young kid, but I was like, he's so nice with the bowing. I kind of had to get used to that too. I think he had made a mistake or something, and he was so apologetic, like his face was flushed and he was bowing. So I bowed back. Then he bowed again. And I'm like, how long does this keep going on? I don't know. The customer service is 100%. The way that they are trained to make the customer feel good and happy, even going to the Starbucks. I love Japan. It's one of my top 5 countries, period, and all of the East. Make sure that you are reciprocating back to them. I'm not going to come to the counter being loud, yelling at them, being a Karen. They don't really respond to that well. Make sure that your interactions are as positive as possible. Say thank you. And you kind of just match their energy. With the bowing, I kind of didn't know when to stop. Y'all tell me in the comments, because he was bowing to apologize. I'm like, no, it's okay. So I don't worry about it. So I bow back. He's bowing again. Like, it just kept on going. I was like, okay, bye. And then I just walked off because I'm awkward. Definitely want to try the Nagasaki Shinkansen if you can. You can extend your stay to more days. If you are going to be there a couple weeks in Japan, definitely get the Japan Rail Pass and try out the buses or the subways. If you're doing that, make sure that you are following the queue etiquette. Let's talk about the Japanese currency, the Japanese yen. It is frowned upon to fold the money there. So when you get the bills, they're going to be crisp and clean. There's a fun fact for you. They don't have any rips or tears in the bills. In the US, we'll have these crumpled up dollar bills. Some of them might smell and look all dingy. Japan, again, has outperformed us. It's not a competition. I'm just telling you that their money is not folded. And people actually follow it. They're not crumpling it up in their pocket when you get change back. Lastly, the food. Japanese cuisine, you're going to have a lot of options as a vegetarian. I wish I would have explored this more. From the sushi, the noodles, the rice dishes, they can be pricey, just the food in Japan. So, first tip would be to stick to local Japanese food. If you're going to go eat foreign food, it's going to be expensive, you guys. So, I would say stick to Japanese food. They have what is known as teishoku. These are set meals and they're going to be reasonably priced. I would always ask for the vegetarian teishoku. It's going to come usually, obviously, with a protein, but if I'm getting vegetables, it would just be vegetables. You can get a drink if you want, and it's on like a platter. When I first got the teishoku, I was like, where's the rest of the food? It was brightly, beautifully colored, but the portions are so small. I know in America we overeat in the US. I know, but still. I think that was a carrot. I'm like, y'all just gave me one dice of a carrot? Like, you couldn't dice up the whole carrot? Sometimes these places, I think for vegetarians, they just skimp on the ingredients. Like, if you were going to give me fish or meat, I feel like this whole thing would have more food. In the Japanese restaurants, you are not going to tip. Okay, it is frowned upon to tip. They kind of take it as an insult that you did not appreciate the meal or that you think that they're not being paid well. Just don't tip. Green tea is a popular drink there, and I think a lot of times it is free. I do remember them giving me green tea after I had left the onsen and I went to sit down for my meal. You start out with green tea. Green tea is calming too. Relaxing in onsen, you are able to be around nature, which is already naturally calming, and then you have your green tea. There is your spa experience. If you want to try fine dining, instead of going there for dinner where it's going to be the most expensive, look to go during lunch. You still would experience the ambiance of the fancy restaurant and you would get a cheaper meal. When I was at the onsen in Karama Onsen, the lady, she gave me a menu. They had different types of vegetables that I could get. I ended up getting the silken tofu, and just the way that she brought it out on the tray, it had a nice little piece of origami. I used to love folding origami. Seeing that on my tray was nice. I think I had the whole place to myself. Not a lot of people were there when I visited. I'm still nude under this robe. And you have to sit. I guess it's good for your posture, I'm not sure, with the low table, and you dine and have your tofu. Of course, it had the little pieces of ginger with the green onion and the soy sauce with the tofu. It was cooked well. It was just tofu, but I enjoyed it. One thing with the teishokus, if you want to ask them for the daily special, this is the Higawari Teishoku. That can be the daily special, and then you can see what they have to offer. And maybe they can make it vegan or make it veggie. Also, you can go, if you're at one of their big department stores, go to the lower floor, the basements. Those usually have food floors where you can eat. Besides the typical Japanese sushi, ramen, and other noodle dishes, you can try Indian. I did note Kerala restaurant that they had in Kyoto where you can get Indian food. I love Indian food all around the world. In any country, I will stop to eat at an Indian restaurant. Try the lunch menu. You can get a fraction of the price at fancy restaurants. Also, you definitely want to get the teishoku set meals, get the veggie teishoku, and eat the local Japanese food. Of course, there's street food. Like I mentioned, they had that at Arashiyama. All of the food stands and stalls, those are great too. I do not recall any negative experiences as a Black woman. Sometimes the elderly women were looking at my hair. The way that the culture is, they're not necessarily going to reach out and touch it like China. Woo, China's something else, y'all. China's coming up. It is on the roster. We'll see what I'm ready to do my China videos. In Japan, they are typically more respectful and polite. Most of them do not speak English as you might think. You are in Japan, especially the further out you get from the main cities. So you want to learn some typical Japanese phrases. I don't know if I remember people taking out their photos as much to film me, which was a relief. But if you are at these touristy sites, you're going to be there with other tourists from around the world anyway. So that's not going to be much of a difference. And then like in the mall, like I said, with the guy who was helping me with the bus ticket or the girl at the Starbucks, these are younger people and they typically are going to know English and they will be friendly and talk to you anyways. They are a bit shy, so that's why I said you can't come loud and abrasive in their faces because they might be a bit taken aback, a little embarrassed. We don't want to do that. We're just trying to, exchange some conversation and culture. If you don't speak Japanese, I still think it is fine. I know a lot of you sometimes get anxious and worry about traveling solo. Japan is one of the best countries in the world. It's one of the safest countries for solo female travelers. So I definitely think that you should put this on your list. If there are any fears that you have, while you're traveling, I don't know, those of you who are Christian, you do want to maybe say a small prayer before you get on your flight, while you are packing, while you are doing your research. It's okay to feel nervous, but you want to let those thoughts pass because you don't want that to hold you back from enjoying yourself while you are on the trip. Traveling solo is not for everyone. That's what I'm starting to realize. This is a solo travel channel. But there are families who watch my content. I'm grateful for you guys too, because all of us collectively are trying to travel on a budget. And I'm going to do that every country. For those who are traveling with a little bit of fear, it is okay. You don't have to document like I'm doing on YouTube every country. Like I'm bearing it all out. You can just, write down little notes on a journal if you want to do that. Some people really like to do it through photos. That's why they have their social media accounts. And really, it's up to you. You have saved up for this trip. You've taken the time off. You might as well enjoy it. If you did not enjoy it, that's okay too. I know a lot of people are like, well, what if I didn't enjoy, my first solo trip and I just can't do it? I'd rather go with the group. That is okay. I do think that at least once you should try it. Try to learn how to enjoy your own company. To me, there's nothing better. Thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate you taking the time out to watch my Japan video. If you are interested in more travel, go ahead and look at this one here so that you can get more inspiration on where to go next. Thanks again, and I'm going to see you next week.